Sportsline, brought to you by Ace Hardware, AKLC Studios, Arnold Furniture, Buffalo Bills Roadhouse, Fazio's Italian Deli, Highland Tire, Matteo's Pizza, Myrna's Brewery Outlet, Attorney Gino F. Peluso in Lower Burrell, the Resevich Family of Funeral Homes, 380 Discount Warehouse, Tower Auto Sales, and Westmoreland Insurance Services. This is one of those evenings, perhaps, when you want to cozy up to your television set or the computer.
Right.
Because we're having some weather issues.
I heard it's going to rain.
Bob Tattert here and Mike Pavlik joins me tonight for Sportsline Trivia. And you're invited to stay with us for the next hour. Don't know what the weather's going to be like for the rest of the week, but Halloween's been
pretty much pushed back
rescheduled
in most areas.
till
Looks like it's going to be Saturday night, yeah.
So, but anyway, more important things to talk about.
More important than Halloween? Speaking of Halloween, let's talk about those uniforms, Bob.
Yeah, the Steelers came out looking, by the way, Billy, can you kill that one little thing in my ear? Okay, the Steelers came out looking like bees around a hive.
Thank you, Mike
Which
Lang.
is a Mike Lang's call for the Penguins. But anyway, yeah, we had quite a weekend, but we're finding out that in all probability we're not going to have a hockey season of any length if it ever gets settled.
Yeah, I really don't know where they're at when it comes to all this right now, but apparently the Winter Classic is next on the chopping block, and that might happen. Of course, I don't understand why they would cancel it 2 months ahead.
Well, because of all the other people, they're taking reservations,
I see
for the hotels
there's a lot of
and
travel
whatever.
involved there.
So they're probably all over the.
I remember all the people
NHL
that came
for
in
that.
here. Yeah, all the people that came in here for the one that we had.
So anyway, folks, what else do we have?
We have high school playoffs about to start.
Right.
So we'll have that this week. We have, by my count, Bob, 9 local teams.
Good.
Have gotten into the playoffs, so that's a goodly number for us.
Burrell Valley, Springdale,
Kiski has
area.
made it. Knock, Hampton. Who am I missing? Shadyside, relatively local. See, it's hard for us to call Shadyside, but I call them local because they're in Fox Chapel, and even
Right, and if you're going to call Fox Chapel
Chapel
local,
so I'm going to count that.
Right.
Hampton, we go into the Hampton area, so we have them. Apollo Ridge too, in Class A. Apollo Ridge,
good for them.
Nice year they got in this year too. So we have a nice number of teams, and first time in a while for some of them. So good luck to everyone.
We're going to take a look at rules and regulations for winning a prize on the program, because when you do call, we give you the option of us giving you a question, and if you answer it correctly, you can only win every other week. And the Grand Salami Prize and the Mystery Profile can be won only once in a calendar month. We'll give you 15 seconds for the multiple choice questions, 20 seconds for the Grand Salami and the Mystery Profile. It's a good one today, is it not?
It is.
And we'll go clue by clue. First-time callers with the correct answer will win 2 or more prizes here on the program, so get your thinking caps on. If you go to my website, which is doubledribblebob.com, then you'll get the answers. So we don't guarantee which ones we're going to ask on any particular night, but at least you have an idea. And my radio program every Saturday morning at 10 o'clock, WAVL, it's on sports history and sports nostalgia. So hope that you're going to be tuned in. We do have at least one volunteer tonight from our live studio gallery that's going to participate with us, so we're looking forward to that. We might be able to talk another one into going along. So anyway, we're going to take our first commercial break, and Mike and I will come back with you on Sportsline Trivia for today, right after this timeout. We're writing a new chapter with our local sports talk show, Sportsline. Every Monday evening at 6 o'clock, we will be seen worldwide on internet streaming. Go to doubledribblebob.com and get it started. The program will be taped and will air on Comcast Cable Channel 190 Thursday evening at 8:30. We'll even have a live studio audience on a first-come, first-served basis. Go to Double Dribble Bob for directions to the studio. The studio audience is reminded the doors will open at 5:30, and you can still participate as you would if you were calling from home and still win a trivia prize. Now, we're depending on you to keep the program going, and even if you don't have a computer or the internet, you can still call and be a participant on the program. So keep the phone number handy, 724-236-0430. That's 724-236-0430. I'll be looking for you. Westmoreland Insurance Services isn't like your ordinary insurance agency. Not only can you get a variety of quotes from leading insurance companies, but you can purchase that protection through Westmoreland Insurance. Accidents happen. Are you prepared? You can be with a wide range of homeowners insurance options from Westmoreland Insurance Services, putting your family's safety in their family's hands for almost 40 years. Give them a call, 724-337-3557. My first book on sports is available not only through the internet, but at various local businesses in the AK Valley. It's Bob Tattern's Sports Minutes. Short sports stories, odd and unusual, fascinating and funny, only take about a minute to read. Go online to doubledribblebob.com, where links are provided for Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Word Association to get book information. Get your copy locally at Costello Printing in Tarentum, Blackburn's in Tarentum, Myrna's Brewery Outlet in New Kensington, or the Hot Dog Guys Lower Borough.
Welcome to Myrna's, home of the largest beer selection in the area.
Myrna's specializes in domestic, foreign, and microbrews as well as wine coolers. Myrna's Brewery Outlet has the largest beer selection at the lowest prices. Myrna's carries a large selection of snacks as well as cigars and cigarettes at state minimum prices. Let our helpful, courteous employees load your car. Myrna's Brewery Outlet, open 7 days a week.
For Myrna's, make sure you stop by Myrna's and get their 36-pack of Coors Light, the cans, at only $22.99 plus tax. Stopped in to see the good folks at Myrna's last week. Everything's going great.
As you were saying, as we were still in break, for anybody that saw the Cowboys game yesterday.
Oh, love to hear from you.
Yeah, what about the end zones there?
Well, if you're from Dallas, you want to lobby for the Canadian 15-yard end zones.
Yes, to make sure there was plenty of room back there for
actually
fingertips.
It would mean more scoring from the red zone.
It would,
obviously.
Well, if the problem probably is that all these stadiums are built now. Mm-hmm. You'd have to take out seats.
Oh yeah, well,
to extend the end zones, but it's not the worst idea.
They're not going to do it for Jerry Jones.
No, not for Jerry. No.
Let's go to the phones. Mark is on the line, and Mark, I got to start out by asking, how'd you get the night off? Because you did say, unless you were off work, this is going to be a tough night to call.
Excuse me, Bob. Yeah, I'm off work again.
Oh, you got laid off?
Yeah, I had a long weekend, Friday and today. Our place is a little slow, so they gave us Friday and Monday off.
Well, I'm
but I didn't know
glad.
I could have come up as an audience. I thought that was only your first show.
Oh, no, my gosh. Come on over, Mark.
Yes,
and here I'm just sitting here watching the weather getting bad.
I understand it's raining.
Yes, I wonder, do you guys have your kayaks ready so you can float back to Lower Borough?
I think we're going to be okay, actually. It was coming down pretty good. I had to check the radar right before we went on, and there's another pretty decent band that's over top of us, and it's moving backwards. Everything's going east to west, and once that gets through, it should slow down a little bit. I think the heaviest rain we might be in right now.
But Mike brought up a good point in checking something online regarding the WPIAL and the pairings meetings they're having tonight. If you're watching this on the streaming program, this is a Monday night. If you're watching this on television, it's the Thursday night. But Mike had said that what the WPIAL might do, and probably do in a lot of cases, where teams that are playing on natural turf are going to be moved to a close neutral site with artificial turf, as an example. Highlands is available. They're not playing in.
That'd be perfect. I just thought of that.
Yeah.
I know the way.
Now, Valley is in the playoffs, but they did not get a home game.
right?
for the first game. Who else do we have with artificial turf that's close?
Fox Chapel's
Plum.
and Plum, Fox Chapel,
Yeah.
relatively close. So there are some schools there that have artificial turf. Because I'll tell you what, when it really started looking the weather was going to be bad, and Bob and I thought about Borough right away, because we know that can get messy up there.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a grass field, and it's funny with Highlands this year. We didn't see one game on grass all season. Had 9 games on turf.
Is it?
All 9
home and
games on
away.
turf, and that's not unusual.
Ah.
That is
Yeah,
not
that's
unusual.
that's the reason I was calling, fellas, to see if you guys know who Valley or Borough might be playing.
Well,
Next.
that's the problem. The pairings, as we talk to you right now, Mark, the pairings aren't out yet. Everybody watching this on a Thursday night is going to be saying, what are they thinking? Well, you need to watch us on your computer on Monday night at 6 o'clock to get the live version of the show, okay? But as we come to you right now, we don't know yet. They won't release those. Bob and I were talking about this. The meeting starts at 7 o'clock, and you probably won't start to see the pairings leaking out until about 7:30. So we don't know. Valley will be on the road. Borough will be at home. Hopefully they get to play in their home stadium. But I think that's kind of iffy right now. It may depend on how much rain falls here in the next couple of days. But so we don't have them yet. I said it last week that with Freeport getting hammered by Washington 60-6 on their home field, I predicted last week, I'm going to stick with it right now, that Borough is going to have to play Beaver Falls. That's the way I look at that one right there.
That's tough.
So
That's tough. Very tough.
that won't be easy. They'll probably seed Borough in 8 and Beaver Falls in 9, and that's probably where you're going to be. So, but that's just a guess on my part. Valley will have to travel, and again, if they're not going to weigh heavily the play in the Allegheny Conference, that Valley might have to go someplace and play a strong Double-A team away, and it'll be difficult for them. So we'll see. They have their methods down there, and just because they like to mix up the seeds too. You can have 2 teams from the same conference be 1-2 seeds. I've seen it happen. I wouldn't be surprised to see that in A maybe. Whoever finished second to Clairton could get a 2 seed. It's not that unusual. So we'll have to wait and let their infinite wisdom take over.
Okay, getting back to the Steelers now, what's their chances in New York on Sunday?
I think they have a chance against the Giants. The Giants are very good. They really got out to such a big lead against the Cowboys and then really didn't play well the rest of that game. So I think they have a chance. I think the Steelers are playing well right now. And every once in a while the Giants will slip up in a game, and that's kind of, we'll see. I think you're going to learn a lot about them this week, that's for sure.
The one thing the Steelers do have going for them, Mark, is the fact that they've got momentum. Unfortunately for the Redskins yesterday, they had at least 10 dropped passes. And I wonder what might have happened had a couple of those gone the other way.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier,
So,
too.
Yeah, I don't think they were saying that was a record for them dropping that many in one game or something for the Redskins.
I think it is, yeah, but
Yeah,
is it a modern record? Are we going?
and some of the people, I listened to a little Washington radio today, some of them were disputing exactly how many drops there were. A couple of times we had hands in there. The defensive back, Keenan Lewis,
Right.
had defended a couple of them. And then I think really by the second half, as things got moving along, I think that they were starting to get a little bit worried about being hit, which
They hear the
as a
footsteps.
secondary, you like that. So, and even though the Steelers ended up finishing that game with 2 backup safeties, that both of their starters were out, with Ryan Clark had a concussion, and hopefully he was supposedly tweeting he's okay and he's going to be ready to go, but you got to pass muster with the doctors and all the tests. So
Now,
we'll
did
see.
they say, was that the Steelers' original uniform when they first came in?
They said it was 1934 from what I can remember.
Right.
Yeah.
I think 33 was the first year, so I don't know what they were
Right.
that year. But they had a picture. They showed a picture, and as a matter of fact, Ed Bouchette wrote a story on it when they first came out with these, that Art Rooney had a picture of that team, and it was one of his favorite teams, and he had it in his office up until the day he died, and that he had a special affinity for that group, those guys that were on that team, and he loved those uniforms. And I think that's probably a reason why they went to them. And like I said, I didn't really like them so much when I first saw them, but yes, when you're out there and you're scoring some touchdowns and looking pretty good, I think they look just fine.
Let me give you a quick story on uniforms, Mark. There's a story that they tell about the University of Syracuse. They're now known as the Orange Men, okay? The first year they played college football, they had an all-pink uniform.
Lovely.
That was the only year that they that they wore the all pink. I think they went the following year to, it may have been all black. People didn't like that, so they went to orange. They still didn't have a nickname. So they said, well, you're going to be the Orange Men. And that's how things got started. But to go from pink to black and then to orange.
Hey, Bob, I caught your show on Saturday on the radio, and I didn't know that baseball, each position had a different colored uniform then.
There was 1 year where they tried it out for a part of the year. In other words, the shortstops on both teams wore all purple. The first baseman had a red and a red stripe, and he looked like a candy cane. But again, the same uniform for both teams, the first baseman from both teams, and every position was like that. They even went so far as to say that the first substitute had a particular color. How do you know who the first sub's going to be? And the second substitute had another color.
And what if they changed positions during the game? Weren't they allowed?
I don't know.
Is it like Lane Kiffin at USC and he was changing guys' numbers during the game?
Hey, anyway, that goes back a long time.
That would have been nice to see on a color TV, though.
Yeah, exactly. That would have been interesting.
Well, I'm glad you got the radio show anyway.
Yeah, it was a good thing. Yeah, I listened to it. I guess I'm ready for multiple choices, so I don't take up too much of your time.
All right, let's do it, Mark.
Michael's going to do it for you.
Let's go. Let's see if we can get you one here. Who is the only pitcher to win 3 Cy Young Awards and each time his league's pitching triple crown? League's pitching triple crown is wins, ERA, and strikeouts. The only pitcher to win 3 Cy Young Awards and each time win the pitching triple crown along with it. Sandy Koufax, Warren Spahn, Roger Clemens, Randy Johnson. Koufax, Spahn, Clemens, Johnson.
Randy Johnson?
That is not it.
No.
It is Sandy Koufax.
Sandy, okay.
Who did many, many good things for the Los Angeles Dodgers.
I was thinking either that or Warren Spahn, but okay.
You can't go wrong with any of the 4. They're all, 3 of them are in the Hall of Fame, and Randy Johnson will be in the Hall of Fame.
The reason you said that was for Hurricane Sandy?
Maybe.
My wife said I should have said that for Sandy. Yeah.
Every answer tonight is Sandy. No, that's not it. Sorry.
Well, you guys have a nice week. Good luck with the show.
Mark, it was good hearing from you.
Thank you, Mark.
Bye-bye.
Now, if Chris, who's on the line, will hold on, we're going to grab, and we got one volunteer so far in our studio audience. We're going to grab Chris after the commercial break, and then we're going to talk to Ken here in the friendly confines of our studios here in Leechburg. We're going to do that in a moment. Stay aboard.
.380 Auction and Discount Warehouse, Route 380, Murraysville.
Automotive supplies, groceries, housewares, pet supplies.
All at discount prices.
Sofas, dining tables, recliners, dressers and desks, lamps and end tables.
All at discount prices.
Yard and landscaping supplies, special catalog orders, mattresses with full warranties.
All at discount prices.
School supplies, tools, paint, toiletries, model cars, toys.
All at discount prices. Get to 380 Auction and Discount Warehouse today, Route 380, Murraysville.
Why do Arnold Furniture's customers continue to come back year after year? Maybe it's the personal touch that the Miller family has provided since 1975. Maybe it's the prices that are consistently lower than the competition. Or how about the selection? 4 floors of living room, dining room, recliners, bedding, accessories, and so much more. Plus free local delivery, free setup, and free removal of your old furniture guaranteed. The choice is obvious. Visit Arnold Furniture online at arnoldfurnitureinc.com or stop in and see us today.
Max and his son made their way homeward bound when mischievous rain dropped down, down, down. Safety was threatened by every roguish drip. They slipped and slid. They couldn't get a grip. Then along came the Michelin Man, reminding them the right tire changes everything. Stop up to 31 feet shorter than a leading competitor with the new Michelin Defender tire, backed by a 90,000-mile warranty. Michelin, a better way forward.
Available at Highland Tire under the bridge in Tarentum and Freeport Road, Natrona Heights. You have the luxury of choice whenever you shop for your vehicle, your next pre-owned vehicle, at Tower Auto Sales in Blawnox. Where you buy your vehicle is just as important as what you buy. Let the experienced sales staff headed by Mike Fanto help you Tower Auto Sales in Blawnox. Just buy it. Give Mike a call, if you will. That's 412-828-6202. And we're back on the program. We've got, do we have Chris up next? Chris, are you there?
Yes, Bob. How are you doing?
Okay,
Hey,
good.
Chris,
I'm glad
how
you're
are
How you
hanging
doing,
on.
Mike?
Good, Chris.
You know what I think the whole thing is why we won that game? Because we were at home and the weather conditions were lousy, and usually the weather conditions are lousy in your own field. I think that's what big help to yourself. It's a big benefit. Just like the people going up to Denver. Look what happens up there.
I think you might be right that usually when it is miserable, you'd rather be miserable in your own stadium than be miserable in somebody else's stadium. And I think you might have a point there. Here's the thing about the Redskins. We talked about this last week. Is the Redskins had a big game last week against the Giants on the road, and they had the game won when Griffin drove them down for what appeared to be a miracle comeback and a miracle win with less than a minute to go. And then the Giants came back with a miracle of their own when Eli Manning threw a long touchdown pass to Victor Cruz. He did his little salsa dance, touchdown Giants, and it was a heartbreaker for the Redskins. And I thought that they might have trouble coming back from that. You know, it didn't really seem like that, though. I mean, they showed up to play the game, I thought. It wasn't as if they, that they were so down or anything, but they showed up to play the game. It was just that, I don't think they were exactly ready for what the Steelers threw at them, and sometimes that's a coaching issue too.
Well, the stadium and conditions have a lot to do with it.
Yeah. Well,
another thing, a uniform don't make the person or the performance. It's just a thing to look at, because I mean somebody can go in there in just a tank top and thing, and they can own a Cadillac for all you know. You know what I'm saying?
Well, somebody in the radio booth, I had the TV sound down, the radio
I
up.
did not hear the radio yesterday.
Anyway, the comment made was they thought, I think it was Twinch, who said, it looks like Washington thinks that they're being swarmed by bees, and it could have had a psychological effect, but anyway.
So what'd you think?
Well, I mean, uniforms don't make the difference all the time.
No, they don't make the difference, but I'll tell you what, they could be distracting. Remember the ones they wore years ago? I think they played the Colts that day, and they had the crest of the city of Pittsburgh on the front.
Yeah,
and they had a small number up on the up here. They had a number up here.
What's that, back in the 60s maybe?
No, this was probably in the 80s.
About the 80s.
Yeah,
you and I wouldn't know anything in the 60s because we're the same age just about.
Rod Woodson was playing, Greg Lloyd was playing that group. They had a number up here, and I think they played the Colts. And the Colts players were complaining they couldn't tell what their assignment was because they couldn't find the number. They didn't know where to find the guy. Because you used to have a big number in the front, and you know, okay, hey, now, if 62 is your guy, right, then that's who you're supposed to block. And they couldn't find it because the number was tiny.
Good thought, Mike.
And, and I noticed these ones didn't have numbers on the sleeves, which probably weren't good for announcers. But that's never good. You want those. But I don't know. They won, so I thought they were fine. We'll see them again against Baltimore in a couple weeks.
Well, okay, can I comment on the Penguins 2 situation?
Sure.
Okay, what I'm thinking about with the Penguins, I think that the managers, the ownership is going to ruin everything for everybody. Just like a person can have their talent set up and everything. The money isn't there. The owner just wants to just do his own thing, and then once the owner does his own thing, it could be a wreck.
Well, the problem is that money is there.
Yeah, I know the money is there, but I mean, it's always a wreck. I mean, the manager don't always have the right formula to get the thing going. So people under you.
Well, players' unions, being what they are, can destroy. We lost a hockey season 8 years ago,
Yeah, was it
an entire season.
Right.
And it might happen again this year. The owners, this is a lockout so far, right?
This is a lockout.
This is a lockout.
Not a strike.
This is not a strike.
That is correct. So the players would be thrilled to work under the current conditions. They don't want anything to change. I mean, if they said, okay, we're going to end the lockout right now, and then Don Fury would say, we'll play under the current contract and we'll continue to negotiate forever, he'd continue to negotiate. Because when you have a deal where the players get 57% of the pie, why wouldn't they want to keep going? So
it's definitely nice to get 50% of the pie. I mean, why not?
Well, that's what I mean. If the deal was offered at 50-50, and then the players came back with a proposal or 3 proposals that really didn't match anything that they were shown already. So now the owners, and they took their ball and went home, and now you basically have your typical your typical contest between labor and management, and now it's who's going to back down first for the next part to happen. And like I said, the rumors are flying around that they're going to cancel the Winter Classic coming up this week, And, that would be a shame. And then that's a big moneymaker for everybody.
I know it's a big money maker. Like you say, cash is king. I mean, you got to get. That's what it is. Cash is king. You get the money, they better play it, or else you're going to see no cash for nobody. Everybody loses.
That's true.
You must be listening to the Dave Ramsey Show.
No, I'm not. I'm a car salesman, so I had to know that by my own personal experience as being a car salesman.
All right, Chris, you ready for trivia?
Multiple choice, please.
My turn?
You're up.
My turn. And we're going in order, so we go to the next question, which happens to be number 5, I believe. Who was pro football's first receiver? Am I right, Mike? Yeah. Who was pro football's first receiver to post 15,000 yards in pass catches only? In other words, no all-purpose yardage or anything like that. Strictly.
In other words, just in the catches, correct?
Right. Okay. So it's either Jerry Rice, Don Hudson, Wes Chandler, or Andre Dawson.
I'm going to say Andre Dawson.
Well, you're incorrect, Chris, and I'm sorry. It turned out to be Jerry Rice, who had himself a nice, successful, long career with San Francisco.
Never a bad guess when you say Jerry Rice on a receiving question. You have a pretty good shot.
Anyway, thanks, Chris, for the call.
Thanks, Chris.
You guys
All right, appreciate it. And I think, Ken, you want to take a shot? Are you going to be chatting with us tonight?
Oh, sure.
And we do have the limo man on hold, but we had promised before the break that we were going to be talking to you. So you go ahead, Ken.
We will get to everyone.
Let's go to the Buccos.
Why don't we go to the Buccos? We haven't talked about the Buccos tonight. It's almost 6:30. We haven't done Buccos yet.
How do they buy credibility in the minor leagues, the major leagues? The more it comes out about that SEAL training, the more disturbing it is. I mean, how can you sign anybody in the minor leagues?
Well, the more that comes out, and Dejan Kovacevic from the Trib, who we read in the Valley, is coming up with these columns, and he's getting information about these Navy SEALs training, which they had for 3 days for their instructional league minor leaguers. And, that's fine. That was 3 days, and that was okay. But a month later now, they ramped it up a little bit, Bob, and they had Hell Week. They woke them up at midnight to go out and do maneuvers. These are supposed to be baseball players. One of the
I remember that. Yeah.
One of the young players, Gregory Polanco, supposedly hurt his ankle. Now, supposedly he is back playing now in winter ball and doing okay, so that's good for him. We don't want anybody hurt. But having them, go, roll forward through kiddie pools full of ice water and then dive in the sand and carry telephone poles across the beach, I guess that's going to help you turn a double play in the long run. Now, I understand the mental part of the thing, and I know Ken's got a son at the VMI, and I'm sure that they do different kinds of training exercises that we wouldn't call conventional, but we're training them this is military training these guys are going through. So I don't, and the credibility part now comes to agents are getting wind of this. Do they, parents of young baseball players are getting wind of this. These guys don't have a union like the big guys do, and now, are they going to be able to sign players to their minor league system to play
with all of this?
That don't want to do all of this stuff. And of course, here we are about a month after the Pirates season has ended. Now the baseball season's over, and the Giants have won the World Series, and time to move into the offseason, and the Pirates collapsed 2 years in a row, and no changes. Nothing happened. So your question about credibility is, I don't know. And until there's some leadership taken from the top of the organization, and that's from ownership on down, then nothing's going to change. And that's the part that I got my phone call from. I wish Tony was around. I got my phone call from the Pirates today.
Oh, you did?
Oh yeah, ticket stuff will be in the mail soon. Isn't that nice? I told the guy, I said, I'm not coming back. And he said, sure you're not. I said, I know.
Ken, how many games in a year do you take in at PNC Park?
Usually 2. I usually try to travel down.
I see you got
But that's a goodly number. It was always, when the Pirates struggled for attendance, they always said, if we could get everyone that says that they're a Pirate fan to come to one game, we'd be in great shape. And that's, you know, and now I think people go more than, now I'm going to guess that's more than you went to at Three Rivers probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a nicer place to go.
It's a great park, and you go down, and I usually try to go to an American League team that I didn't see
somebody
growing
you
up.
don't get to see very often, exactly, and it's still, you know, in the summertime, which seems kind of far away right now with this weather we're having, you know, it's a great night out, and it's a fun night of entertainment, but they are really pushing it right now, and people just don't take them seriously. I don't believe anything they say. I mean, they can come out tomorrow and Frank Kuhnle can say the sky is blue. I'd look out the window to check. I can't trust them. And how do you gain that back? Well, I don't think this crew can gain that back for me. I think it's got to be new people.
And you'd be right, because it'd be gray and raining. It wouldn't be blue.
It's exactly right. He would, yeah.
Like today.
Like today, absolutely.
Ken, you want to take a shot at some trivia?
How about multiple guess?
All right, here we go.
Okay, Michael, your shot.
We're up. This is football, by the way. What player had the most 200-yard receiving games in his pro football career? Wow, what a good question. What player had the most 200? It's receiver night. Jerry Rice, Lance Allworth, Wes Chandler, Andre Johnson. The most 200-yard receiving games in a career.
I'll take your advice. I'm going to go Jerry Rice.
You shouldn't have listened to me.
I'm just going to say, I know where
I
he's
believe
going.
I've told you a long time ago, don't listen to me. The answer is Bambi, Lance Allworth, who did that now again.
San Diego.
San Diego. Bob, of course, throws you the little curveball there by saying pro football career. So I'm going to guess the games in the AFL. And he was terrific. And that's back when they wore those awesome powder blue
Back
uniforms.
in the 60s, yeah.
And John Hadel was throwing it too, wearing number 21.
Number 21.
Yes, exactly. And Charlie Jones was probably doing the game on NBC. Watching the Raiders and Chiefs yesterday was like one of the worst games ever. It was like Charlie Jones would be doing this game back in the day. Or Kurt Gowdy would be doing this game back in the day. Because that was always a big rivalry. Regardless of the records, you sat down to watch the Chiefs and the Raiders.
Yeah.
Last night, not so much. I watched the Cowboys last night. But thanks, Ken.
Ken, appreciate your
Appreciate
coming over tonight. Next up, if he is still there, and I hope he is, the Limo Man. Are you anywhere in earshot?
Thank God I'm home after a delicious lunch with Sam Hupp and Sonny Jurgensen.
There you go, a
Good for
delicious
you.
lunch.
I'm just going to ask you, Limo Man, before you go any further, can you move the phone a little bit more away from your lips? It's coming
Better?
in distorted. Yeah.
That better?
It's better.
Excellent.
Okay.
What do you got for us tonight, Limo? Baseball season's over.
I know that. There was an article in the Post-Gazette about Art Rooney Sr. Let me tell you what he did for me once.
Okay.
Driving to Philadelphia for daily juice for a meeting with Acme Markets the next day, and in comes Art and his son Dan. And I had a reservation in my hand for the Holiday Inn on City Line Avenue. They couldn't find a reservation. It was sold out. And Art Rooney, at no charge, gives me his suite.
Oh, my gosh.
I have always heard that he was a great guy, and everybody loved him, and he would walk from his house up on the north side down to the stadium to go to work.
Every Sunday.
Anybody he would pass, he'd stop and talk to, and just a regular guy. And the thing that I always remember about him, and they always talk about, he loved the Pirates.
Oh, really?
He loved baseball, and he loved the Pirates. And he would yeah, and he would talk to the players and Willie Stargell and whoever, and you talk, Steve Blass will talk about it even, that, he would make friends with all the players on the Pirate team that he would see around, and they had a really good relationship back then that's been some way strained here in the last few years. But any good story, Limo, that I hear about Art Rooney Sr. doesn't surprise me at all.
And I took the Jewish guy, Dan Snyder, to the airport after the game, and he said nothing. Not a word.
Okay, did he have his wife with him?
No.
She's a looker. He didn't bring her along, huh?
No, did you know Art Rooney Sr. operated a whorehouse on the north side?
If you ever see the commercial, if you ever see, I'm ignoring it. That's why I'm moving along. If you ever see,
Limo Man, come on.
If you ever see the commercials that they do with the NFL equipment, and that nice looking blonde lady is his wife, and very, very nice.
Unbelievable. Do you know Heath Miller broke L.B. Nichols' record yesterday?
An L.B. Nickel record went down the drain.
I didn't hear that. Who broke it?
Heath Miller.
Heath Miller. Is it? I'm going to guess it was a tight end receiving record, huh?
Yes.
Yes.
And Sam loves your doubledribbleBob.com because he put it on his computer in the hotel room.
No, thank you.
Well, there you go.
And by the way, Roethlisberger said that his goal this year is to get Miller in the Pro Bowl.
I think he's working on it. I think there's a legitimate shot. I mean, I'll tell you what, we watched 2 games yesterday. Now, Miller didn't have as good of a game as he had the week before against Cincinnati. But you watched him play, and then if you watch the Cowboys game, tight ends all over the place in these 2 games. I mean, it was just, outstanding. Jason Witten was great for
Tom Seville was at the Giants game.
Yeah.
With Scott Green's crew.
He was definitely there. He asked him the other night, "Where are you going to be, Tom?" He said, "Dallas, but don't announce it." It's like they don't want it out where I'm going to be. It's like, okay, fine.
Now I got Tom Seville's picture in the living room with Harry Callis and Jimmy Nance.
Yeah.
Now there you go.
Good healthy trio.
Yeah,
with a lot of money tied up in those 3.
Up on the mantle there, yeah.
Including Tom.
Yeah.
And Sam Huff can really put it away with the food.
Really put away the food.
Now, is his waistline showing it, or is he still working out?
I didn't hear that, Bob.
Is his waistline showing that, or is he still working out at the gym?
Yeah.
All of the above.
Okay.
All of the above. I met Sonny Jorgensen once. He had a big stogie. It was this big. We covered
let Sonny smoke the cigar in the booth.
We covered a scrimmage at Latrobe High School, and the Steelers were scrimmaging the Redskins that day, and there was a tall, red-headed guy with a cigar this long, leaning up against the goalpost. I said, "Look, it's Sonny Jorgensen." I hope you guys don't mind, but I have to go say hi to Sonny Jorgensen because he's one of my heroes when I was a kid. So I went up to him. I said, "Sonny, I just wanted to shake your hand and say hi and tell you I remember you playing when I was a kid." He goes, "I get that a lot." And that was it. He put the cigar back in his mouth and turned away and looked out. It was like, okay, he could have been friendlier, but that was all right. He wasn't that bad. I've run into worse.
Bruce, we got to get the trivia.
All right, I'm ready for you with the multiple choice, as always.
Right, it's my turn.
It is your turn.
Okay.
We're loading up on football.
Okay, football tonight. Football is the next one. Here we go. For the Limo Man. Who was the first National Football League African-American quarterback to throw for 3,000 yards in a season? Was it Michael Vick, Doug Williams, Marlon Briscoe, or Randall Cunningham?
Mr. Briscoe.
Mr. Briscoe goes back a little bit too far, but that is incorrect. Playing for the 1980 Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Doug Williams is the correct answer. So, Bruce, thanks for the call.
All right, there's a long drive in deep right center field on this one. It's for Joe Lucchino because we're having a tailgate party in Brackenridge Sunday.
All right, thanks, Bruce, for the call. We're going to take our next commercial break. We're coming back. Do we have somebody on hold, by the way? Oh, we don't. So this is a good time to get in.
It is.
I haven't even given the number tonight.
724-236-0430. Did you catch me cheating there? 724-236-0430. I remembered it the second time.
Okay,
Call us.
back in a moment. Stay with us. This is where you get the absolute freshest deli meats and cheeses. Fazio's Italian Deli in Arnold. At Fazio's, you're getting only the best and freshest selection. Fazio's has its own bakery and offers you fresh baked bread, rolls, pastries, and more. Pick up individual salads to go, Italian sausages, hoagies, custom-made sandwiches, even party trays for your next get-together. Freshness and quality every time at Fazio's Italian Deli, Leishman and Dre in Arnold. Westmoreland Insurance Services isn't like your ordinary insurance agency. Not only can you get a variety of quotes from leading insurance companies, but you can purchase that protection through Westmoreland Insurance. Westmoreland provides a full range of coverage for all of your automobile needs. Westmoreland Insurance Services, putting your family's safety in their family's hands for almost 40 years. Give them a call, 724-337-3557. Lower Borough attorney Gino F. Pelusa was honored to be the first AK Valley lawyer to serve as president of the Duquesne Law Alumni Association. For over 3 decades, Attorney Peluso has helped local people get what they deserve, providing his expertise in Wilson Estates, auto accidents, DUI, and bankruptcy law, where he serves as a debt relief agency helping people file for relief under the bankruptcy code. Call Attorney Peluso 724-339-8710 or visit attorneypeluso.com. Let his experience work for you. Want to invite everybody to make a trip down to Mattio's Pizza in Tarentum. Everything on Mattio's menu is made with quality ingredients. Hand-tossed pizzas, gyro sandwiches, subs and hoagies, calzones, strombolis, wingdings, and their signature sandwich, the Iron Man Hoagie.
Yummy.
Mattio's, located right across from the old Drescher Stadium along the river in Tarentum, right next door to Clark Candy's. So that's where we are.
That's where we are. A little college football here. Pitt with a nice win on Saturday against Temple. So they've won 2 in a row. They lost 2.
Bill Cosby's alma mater.
I know. Bill Cosby basically used to hire the coaches there. Lost 2, won 2. Lost 2, won 2. So they're 4-4. Now next week, they go to Notre Dame, who comes off that very impressive win at Oklahoma.
Yes,
Nobody
indeed.
thought they were going to win that, or at least I didn't. So they win there, and now Notre Dame has moved up to 3 in the BCS standings. I'm looking at the BCS standings here. By the way, Pitt is a 17-point underdog in this game, and they got bad news today. They lost 3 starters for the season due to injury. 2 linebackers, Manny Williams, who tore his ACL a couple weeks ago, he's out for the year. Dan Mason, this one just breaks your heart. Dan Mason had that horrific knee injury a couple years ago against Miami on the Thursday night. Missed the better part of 2 years. Has come back this year to play and was playing a lot in place of Manny Williams. And left the game injured the other day, and it was really hard to tell what it was. It turns out it was a lacerated liver, which is one I've never heard of before. So he's out, and Paul Chris said today he's done for the year. And then Ryan Schleeper, one of their offensive linemen, is out for the year with a knee injury. They lost 3 starters.
And they're going to Notre Dame.
They're going to Notre Dame. Now, here's my only thing, and is that Notre Dame might have a little bit of a letdown after. I'm sure they're going to have a letdown. They play Oklahoma on the road, and that's one of the biggest wins that Notre Dame's had in years, really. And they are on their way to. There's only 4 undefeated teams. 4 undefeated teams left at the top of the BCS standings right now. Alabama's 1. I think everybody, concedes they're going to go to the championship game if they run the table now. Kansas State is 2. They're terrific. And Bill Snyder's one of the most underrated coaches. They have, in the history of Kansas State football, they have nearly won as many games in the 21 years that he's been there as they won the entire rest of the time they've been playing football at Kansas State, over 70 years.
Wow.
So, I mean, that's how good of a job he's done there, and nobody knows anything about the guy. He reminds me of Chuck Wagner. I say he's the quiet, gentlemanly, older gentleman type of coach, and every time I look at him, I said, there's Chuck Wagner coaching K-State. So they're at 2 right now. Notre Dame's at 3, and Oregon is at 4. Oregon just blows everybody out, blows the doors off of everyone. They're going to play USC this week, and USC blew that game to Arizona this week. So these computers and the polls kind of work like the Gardner points. You lose credit if you beat somebody that's not as good almost. Oregon's at 4. The coach is Chip Kelly. You know what he said? He goes, I guess the computers don't stay up late enough to watch us play.
Well,
so the question is, do you think like I think, and I've heard this talked about today, that regardless of what happens the rest of the way, if these teams all go undefeated, that some little leprechaun is going to go into that computer and make sure that Notre Dame plays in that championship game. I can just see it now that Kansas State will go and run the table and they'll be beating everybody, scoring 50 points.
Notre
and you
Dame
wake
will
up on the
slide
last
in.
poll, Notre Dame's sliding right in there Because they're Notre Dame, and what is this, Bob? It's a business, and they bring fans, and they bring money, and they bring
have the
television
alumni
viewers.
all over the
They have
country.
their own network, for goodness sakes. They have alumni everywhere, and who wouldn't want to see Notre Dame play Alabama for the championship? We've seen it before back in the early 70s at the Sugar Bowl.
You know, talking about alumni, and it is kind of going slightly off the subject, but years ago, and I'm going to go back maybe to the 80s, when I was dealing with a sales team that was out for getting Penn State's 1 hour condensed games to be played on a Sunday morning.
The Penn State football
It was right. It was made known then that Penn State had more alumni in Western Pennsylvania than Pitt did. Penn State's got them everywhere.
And they were out in force. I watched their game against Iowa a couple of weeks ago. It was at the same time the Kansas State-West Virginia game was on, as a matter of fact. And a nice young couple sat to my right, Penn State fans, and just all excited that things are going well, and they can get past that other thing that we don't need to talk about anymore.
Right.
And they're really doing. You know, they seem to be turning the corner in that regard, and you know, and these people deserve to be able to watch their game, and the kids deserve to play. You know, they didn't do anything to anybody, and Bill O'Brien's doing a really good job. But they took it on the chin by the Buckeyes this week, didn't they? Urban Meyer's moving that thing in the right direction quickly. They're not allowed to be ranked. They're number 6 in the AP poll. The AP will rank the that was the probation bowl last week, Ohio State against Penn State. But Ohio State is 6 in the AP, so they are eligible to be ranked there. LSU is at 5. The AP poll, which the writers vote, Alabama's unanimous 1. Oregon's number 2 in the AP poll. But the thing is that the AP poll is not used in the formula for the BCS. Now, in a few years, this will all go out the window because they're going to have a playoff and they're going to be able to choose the teams that they want. And if that were the case, you know Notre Dame would make one of those spots without a doubt. But Oregon is 2, Kansas State is 3rd, and Notre Dame is 4 in the AP poll. So we'll have to see where that goes. Notre Dame has Pitt this week, and then you know, their schedule kind of lightens up a little bit. They will have USC at the end, like Tony's told us before when he's called. You know, if the game's at USC, it will be in November or early December. If the game's in South Bend, it will be in October because Southern Cal doesn't want to come east for the weather. So that, you know, we'll see what Notre Dame can do. Kansas State has some tough games coming up. They have to play Oklahoma State yet, and other Big 12 teams. So I think that there's more of a chance that K-State's going to trip up than there is Notre Dame coming down the stretch. And then Oregon's kind of a wild card. I don't know who's going to beat Oregon right now. Could you have 4 undefeated teams in a year where we're not having the playoff yet?
Yeah.
And 2 of them, you know, maybe they'd go play each other for 3rd. I don't know. I mean, that might be it.
Folks, we're going to take our last commercial break, and when we return, we hope to have you on the line with us, 724-236-0430. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Since 1914, people in the local area have relied on the Resevich family in deepest time of need. The Resevich family is the oldest established name in the funeral profession in the AK Valley. Its reputation and unquestionable service speaks for itself. Now the proud tradition of service continues with a 4th generation. The Resevich family serves the AK Valley from 2 locations, 5th Avenue Arnold and Leechburg Road, Lower Burrell. Welcome to Buffalo Bill's Roadhouse, the place for big appetites. Their great sandwich selection includes the Geronimo, piled high with generous portions of meat and fixings. Their barbecue ribs are the best in town. Half rack or full rack, they don't come better. Buffalo Bill's wings are everybody's favorite. Uniquely oven-baked, not deep-fried, and yet so crispy. Your choice of 13 flavored seasonings. Grab a bucket for the big game. Eat in or take out, credit cards accepted. Buffalo Bill's Roadhouse, Freeport Road, New Kensington, across from Felderelli Square.
Husqvarna, taming the wild.
Okay, and for those who haven't taken my hint as of yet, stop over at Tower Auto Sales. You know, more than 30 years of experience at the same location, providing great pre-owned vehicles. Call Mike Fanto. He runs the place down there, 412-828-6202, and Mike and his staff will help you in the selection of your next pre-owned vehicle. Tower Auto Sales at Freeport Road in Blawnox. Well, we are back, and a reminder, my radio program every Saturday morning at 10 o'clock, WAVL, Liberty 910. That's on the AM dial.
This is usually the point of the show where we look ahead. I have nothing to look ahead to. Highlands lost, so I have no more
You
games.
know, well, and we mentioned this at the top of the program, that the schools that have home games for the first weekend
right.
may be moved to a close stadium, which would have artificial turf.
If they figure grass
So-
fields might be an issue, so
No,
they're just kind of alerting the Burl folks out there, or you know,
that it may come.
That it may come. So you may want to take a look at that. I don't know where it would be. I mean, we listed a bunch of places that they could send them that would be relatively close, like Plum and Fox Chapel
Well,
or
by the way,
Valley or any of those
The
places, or
press box-
Highlands.
The press box at Plum, I'm not in particularly
Nice.
love with it.
It's okay. We get the cat guy shows up for us. He'll be up there. He'll take care of you. It's
Well,
not bad.
I'm not worried about the food.
I have good memories. I have good memories of the place. I have good memories of the place because the Highlands had a nice playoff win up there a couple of years ago against Montour in overtime. It was very nice. I really enjoyed that. Yeah, we'll have to see what they do. Like I said, my guess is, and again, if you're watching this on Thursday night, we tape on Monday, so we're not exactly sure what the brackets are going to be yet. But I'm going out on a limb and guessing that Burl's going to get Beaver Falls, and that should be interesting. Okay, I was looking at the lines. Tonight's game is San Francisco at Arizona, and San Francisco is a 7-point favorite on the road. I wanted to get guesses on what the line of the Steeler game is. The Steelers at the Giants next Sunday. Steelers at the Super Bowl champion Giants. What's your guess?
I'm going to say the Giants in 7.
7. Okay, audience. Ken, what do you think? Giants 4. Dan, any idea? 3. It's 3.5. 3.5. Giants are favored by 3.5. Well, I thought it might be more in your area.
Yeah.
But the Steelers still get respect from the gambling public out there. I don't know what that does for I don't know what that does otherwise. But I was kind of surprised to see that. But that's an early line. I have the Vegas lines up here.
And by the way, did anybody, we talked maybe a little bit about this, but did anybody, either of you guys see the Dallas game and the catch made with about 6 seconds to play?
Yeah, we kind of kicked that around a little bit.
And I don't remember, this hour has gone along so quickly, I don't remember if we actually spoke about it, or
you just said
was
you were
it a
extending the end zone, about
before?
extending the end zone.
Yeah,
but
okay, you're right.
Des Bryant came down with fingers, and the point that you made I thought was a good one, that in a case like that you really can't fault the official for not getting it right on the field. It happens so bang, bang, and he's got 2 things to watch. He's got to watch feet, legs, rear end, and the line, and the guy's hand. Now, first of all, does he have the ball?
Mm-hmm.
And he did make the catch.
And control.
But then when his hand hit,
he touched the out of bounds.
Touched the strike before, and it's like everybody knew, and there wasn't even any, and what the NFL is doing now, which is different than baseball, and I give them all kind of credit for this, that anytime there's any kind of controversial call in a baseball game, umpires absolutely forbid them to show that replay. On the stadium,
for the people to see,
scoreboards, for the people that actually pay the money to pay the umpires.
Yeah.
But they won't let them show it. And now in the NFL, they are actually showing on the big scoreboards at the games exactly what the referee sees under the hood. It is the same feed goes onto that scoreboard that the referee,
that they're looking up in the booth.
That the referee's looking at under the hood and that they're looking up in the booth. It's the same feed. So the people at the stadium now, there was no booze or anything in Dallas yesterday because they saw that he didn't catch that it wasn't a legal catch. And I give the NFL credit for that. I wish baseball would do something along those lines that actually kind of be more open about their process. And here's the one. And we've talked about this before. This happened to me for the first time this year because I had never seen one, and that was a replay on a home run in a baseball game, which are basically the only things that they look at now.
That may change.
Yeah, they are. They do want to expand that, and I don't know that I'm completely against it. I think if somebody's looking at it upstairs and they can take care of it quickly, then I don't have a problem with it. Well, there was a game, and a ball hit in a game I was at this year, the Pirates, and there was a dispute on whether it was a home run or not. So the umpires go into one umpire stays on the field, I guess, to make sure nobody fights. And 3 guys go down in the tunnel, and they go take a look to see what happens. Well, so stupid me figures that since this is an official replay, I look up at the jumbotron, nothing. They don't show anything. So the people that are actually at the game have no idea what the call should be or what the call is. They don't show you anything. There's no replay at all. And by the time they get back out there and they say home run or they point to second base or do whatever, and it's like, well, you never know. And
the first major league team, by the way, to come up with the jumbotron. Take a guess.
He's Houston?
Ted Turner.
No, that makes sense.
And on a particular night, they had a controversial play, either a slide into second or third or whatever the case may be. And when they showed the replay, I mean, they were ready to kill the umpires. This was a regular season game, but it meant something.
Right.
So immediately the umpires left the field. I mean, for their own safety. And they wouldn't come out until somebody in the Braves organization said, we promise we will not show any more replays today.
Right.
Then the league gets a hold of it and says, you're not going to show them at all. Now that's changed, right? I mean, you still see, I mean, I know what you were saying before, but there are...
Oh, they will show, sure, they will show replays, but somebody
nothing
makes...
controversial.
Somebody makes the determination whether it's going to be controversial
Okay,
or not.
that's the point I was getting to.
And that's where they draw the line. That's where they cut
so
the
here's
line.
what happened. Atlanta hired a retired umpire to go up into the press box and determine what replays he thought the people would be safe to show the people that wouldn't cause a riot. Turner added a man to the payroll so that he could keep his jumbotron, going.
I remember an incident back, and I'm not even sure how long ago it was. It was probably the 80s. It was the 70s or the 80s. I'm pretty sure Chuck Tanner was still there. And they showed one at Three Rivers, and Bruce Fremming was the umpire. And he ran to the telephone in the Pirates dugout and called upstairs and said, don't you show one more replay of anything the rest of this game. Because it was a call that went against the Pirates, obviously, and they wanted to show it.
Something.
And he did. He went crazy. Speaking of making phone calls, I know we're running out of time. I want to get this in. I read this in the New York Post. I read the highbrow newspapers, right? New York Post. So in the New York Post yesterday, I saw that when Alex Rodriguez was pinch hit for by the Yankees in the first time he was pinch hit for, it was probably in the Baltimore series. They may have even been against Detroit. I'm not exactly sure, but it was Baltimore when they pinch hit for him the first time. Joe Girardi took the press box phone in the dugout, called up there and say, don't say Raul Ibanez is pinch hitting for Alex Rodriguez. Just say now batting Raul Ibanez. Could you imagine a baseball manager that worried about the ego of his guy?
That's right.
That he's going to make sure and get on that telephone and go up there and say, don't say we're pinch hitting for him because we just want everybody to just figure that we slipped him in there somehow and nobody really knew that he was in the game. I saw that. I couldn't believe it.
We're going to have to say goodnight. Thanks to you guys for coming here tonight to watch the program. And we appreciate your kind attendance. Anyway, folks, we got to run. Thanks for watching the show. We're back again next week, same time, same station. I'm Bob Tattern.
I'm Mike Pavlik.
Good night. Sportsline, brought to you by Ace Hardware, AKLC Studios, Arnold Furniture, Buffalo Bills Roadhouse, Fazio's Italian Deli, Highland Tire, Matteo's Pizza, Myrna's Brewery Outlet, Attorney Gino F. Peluso in Lower Burrell, the Resevich family of funeral homes, 380 Discount Warehouse, Tower Auto Sales, and Westmoreland Insurance Services.